Becoming a better person isn't about perfection. It's about progress, self awareness, and compassion for yourself and others. I had a friend once who told me that she didn't like who she was becoming. She snapped at people for no reason, held grudges, and blamed everyone else for her stress. That moment of honesty was the starting point for her growth. This video will walk you through 10 steps, each with real life stories, so you can see what growth looks like in everyday life, not just on paper. Step number one, be honest about who you are. I knew a woman who realized she was at the center of her friend group drama. At first, she told herself everyone else was the problem, but a close friend asked her, she said that a close friend asked her, "Hey, do you ever notice how you stir up things without meaning to?" She said that stung her bad. But instead of shutting down, she sat with it. She admitted that she didn't like what she saw in the mirror, and at least she knew where to start. The takeaway from that is growth begins with brutal honesty. If you keep blaming everyone else, you may stay stuck. So remember that. Sometimes we can go throughout life and we blame others when really we need to sit down and take a look at ourselves and sit with ourselves. And that's why I stress dating yourself so much, because once we date ourselves, all of this stuff comes up. Because when we sit in silence, and dating yourself doesn't just consist of sitting in silence, but when we sit in silence, we allow for stuff to come up. And a lot of times we don't date ourselves because we are afraid of the silence. But when we really sit with ourselves, this stuff comes up and it really shows us who we really are. Whether we are mean, whether we are kind, whether we surround ourselves or like drama or like to be in the midst of drama like this woman was telling me. But then she realized, like, after someone pointed it out to her, like, ooh, like, that mirror is something else. Like, I don't like what's staring back at me and I want to change it. And that's the whole key, right? When we do sit in our mess, like really wanting to change and make a difference in our lives and show up differently in our corner of the world. That's what this is all about. Step number two, choose progress over perfection. A man I met at a seminar said he wanted to meditate, but he could never get it right. He thought he needed an hour a day, total silence, and like the perfect setup, right? One day he tried just 2 minutes of deep breathing in his car before work. Over time, those 2 minutes became 5 minutes, and those 5 minutes became 10 minutes. He laughed and said, I stopped trying to be perfect, and that's when I actually made progress. The takeaway from that is waiting for perfect conditions kills growth. Start small, be consistent, and let progress build your confidence. And I can relate to this man that I met at the seminar, because meditating is one of the tools that I use for my anxiety. And when I first started meditating, I tried to start off so big, like, because I had seen people online like meditating for 30 minutes, meditating for an hour. And I was like, yes, like I'm going to do that. And it was an epic fail, y'all. It was an epic fail. And I was so frustrated. And I would come back every day and try that, like try it over and over again. Okay, I'm going to sit still for 30 minutes. I'm going to sit still for an hour. I'm going to do it even, when these thoughts come. But what I learned is that, you know what? Like, let's start small. Let's start simple. Let's start small, because I was triggering my own anxiety by trying to do 30 minutes to an hour of meditation, right? So I started small and I told myself, you're going to sit here for 1 minute. You're going to sit here for 1 minute. And if thoughts come, You're going to sit through the thoughts. You're going to let the thoughts come. And after the thoughts come, you're going to get what it is you want out of this meditation in this moment. So if in this moment I say I want peace, I'm going to get that peace. If in this moment I say I want clarity, I'm going to get that clarity. Even if the thoughts come, I'm going to breathe through the thoughts. I'm going to sit in silence. And y'all, as I continue to do that, slowly but surely, that minute went up to an hour. So now I can meditate for an hour. I have like certain tools that I use, like I have like a meditation video by Wayne Dyer that I use. Um, and I think that typically lasts for 30 minutes. And then I do affirmations and all of that. But I can sit still now for an hour, and it really, 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 really helps with my anxiety. Step number 3, practice empathy daily. My neighbor told me that she used to jump to conclusions about people all the time, like make assumptions about people all the time. And one day a cashier was short with her at the store, and she almost snapped back. But then she realized that the cashier had just lost her mom. My neighbor said that that moment really, really humbled her. And she realized that you just never know what people are carrying. The takeaway from that: empathy is pausing before reacting, choosing curiosity over judgment. And I think we can all relate to my neighbor's story. I know that I've done that before. I've been in a store where the worker has had the worst attitude. And I really wanted to snap back and say, listen, like, if you don't like customer service, then you don't need to be working here, you know? But instead of reacting in that way, I always, always, always try to ask myself, like, what is the other person going through? Like, there has to be something that this person is going through that I can't see or that I don't know about. And so I think, making assumptions and reacting quickly can cause us a lot of regret after we do it. And so, you know, having empathy for others is so important in this world today. We live in a world things are so heavy now in the world today, but having empathy for others is so key. Really, really just going by the old saying, like treating other people how we want to be treated, and knowing that, like, life gets, messy for so many of us. And so having that compassion for people, even when we're out at the store and somebody snap, or even when we're riding in the car and somebody cuts us off, like knowing that that person in that other car is going through something. It's dangerous, but at the same time, like people have a lot going on. Step number 4, learn from your mistakes without living in them. A teacher once told me that she yelled at a student early in her career because she assumed he was being disrespectful. Later, she learned that he had a speech disorder. She carried that guilt for months until she finally told herself, you know what? I made a mistake. I owned it, I apologized, and I learned from it. And I think the takeaway from this is mistakes teach us teach us when we own them. They trap us when we replay them on a loop. So mistakes teach us when we own them, and they trap us when we keep them on a loop. So how many of us can relate to that teacher? Like, kudos to her for, once she found out that he had a speech disorder, for kudos for her, number one, for humbling herself and apologizing, and then realizing that, like, I made a mistake, but I'm not going to sit in that mistake. I'm not going to waddle in that mistake. I apologize. I noticed what I did was wrong. I recognize what I did was wrong. And I can definitely relate to that. And I'm pretty sure you can too, where, in parenting, I have a 13-year-old. There have been plenty of times where I have reacted to something that she said or did, and it turned out to be something totally different, where I had to go back, or the way that I responded to her just wasn't right. And I had to go back and say, you know what? Mommy had a bad day, and it's unfair of me to push my bad day and my baggage on you. And I apologize for the way I responded to you. So, so apologizing but not living in the mistake. Step number 5, build emotional awareness. A coworker said that she used to explode during meetings anytime someone disagreed with him. I'm sorry, disagreed with her. And so finally, someone asked, "Why do you take everything so personally?" And she started therapy and realized it wasn't the meetings, it was feeling unheard as a kid. That's what came out for her in therapy. And so she said once she understood the trigger, she stopped reacting like everyone was out to get her. And the takeaway from that is emotional awareness helps you respond instead of just react. And I can relate to that so much because there were so many moments growing up where I um, didn't feel heard as a kid. Because, you know, you grow up within families where they tell you that kids should be seen and not heard, you know, like you can um, you keep your feelings and emotions to yourself. You do what I say do, and you be quiet, you know. And so, so talking about emotions and all of that wasn't something that was practiced for me growing up. Um, and so my husband and I, as a result of that, before we had our daughter, we talked about the way that we were raised. And we told ourselves, like, you know, ooh, we didn't like this and we didn't like that. And this is what we're going to do different. So, what we do for our 13-year-old daughter now, we do what we call the circle of trust. And in that circle of trust, we allow her to discuss anything that's on her mind without judgment. And that is the safe space. We create a safe space for her in those moments when she wants to talk, you know, for the circle of trust. And she can talk about anything. She can tell us, like, oh, the other day when you said this, it hurt my feelings because of the way that you said it. You did this, and you didn't hear me out. You didn't listen to me all the way. So you jumped to conclusions. Whatever it is on her mind, we as parents are intentionally creating a safe space for her. So building that emotional awareness helps you respond instead of just reacting. Step number 6, develop healthy boundaries. My cousin told me she used to say yes to every family favor, babysitting, errands, last minute events, until she was just exhausted and really resentful. One day she said no for the first time, y'all. And she felt guilty, but she said she also felt free. She laughed and said, "Nobody died because I didn't bake cupcakes for the third school fundraiser this month." The takeaway of that is that boundaries protect relationships. They keep you from giving what you don't have. Um, so we have to really develop healthy boundaries. This is so important. We are taught to take care of everybody else except for ourselves, and that's so unhealthy. And so, so we have to relearn that boundaries are okay to have. They're healthy, even with family, not just with friendships, but even with family. We have to set boundaries. Step number 7, commit to lifelong learning. Oh my gosh, like I always say this, like even I am currently laid off. I've been laid off twice within 5 months of one another. And whenever I go on interviews, I say this. I say, you know what? I have over 25 years of experience in human resources, but I am a lifelong learner. Um, I remember one of my grandfathers, retired friends told me that he takes one free online class every year, whether it's art, history, cooking. It's not it's no rhyme or reason to the classes that he takes, but he said, listen, I may be 72, but my brain doesn't have to retire. And he just shared how he keeps his learning sharp and curious and connected to like younger generations. So the takeaway from this is personal growth isn't just for the young, it's for anyone who refuses to stop evolving. So I thought that that was such a beautiful and powerful story. It doesn't matter how old we are. It just matters that you don't stop evolving. Um, and you're not too old. You're not too old to keep learning and to keep your mind sharp. Step number 8, give without expecting anything back. This is so key. My neighbor told shovels snow off everyone's sidewalk in the winter. And, this is when I used to live in Atlanta. And when someone asked why, he said, because kindness is free and people need it. Nobody asked him to. He didn't post about it online. He just did it quietly and consistently. The takeaway from this is true generosity isn't about applause, it's about impact. And I love this so much. Like, it doesn't cost to be kind. Um, I love to like secretly give to people, um, whether it's me in the Chick-fil-A line and I tell them, hey, how much does a person's meal cost that's behind me? And I pay for their meal. And me walking away from that, I feel so great. I feel so great that I was able to make someone smile in that day. Because kindness doesn't cost, like it doesn't take a lot to be kind. Um, so you find out how you can be kind and show up in that way because how we show up in the world, it boomerangs back to us, and so if we show kindness, kindness will come back to us. Step number 9, surround yourself with people who inspire you. A friend once told me that she joined a mastermind group full of women that were like chasing their big dreams. She said being around them made her level up, and she like couldn't stay the same. So find you people who inspire you. Whether it's a mastermind group, whether it's going to a meetup where they are doing a 5K run that you've always wanted to do, whether it's somebody that lives abroad and is teaching you how the steps that you need to move abroad, whatever it is, like find your tribe that helps you level up, like what my friend was telling me. And the takeaway from that is the right circle challenges you, not just cheers for you. So we want people in our lives that are not yes men, but people who really challenge us, not just cheer us on, but really challenge us and pushes us to shine further, to go further in those things that we want to, go further in life on. So find your tribe, find those people who inspire you. Step number 10, celebrate the small wins along the way. A coworker literally, um, in my previous position, she started clapping for herself every Friday for surviving the work week. And she was hilarious, but she would clap for herself every Friday for surviving the work week. And she said, if I wait for huge wins, I'll miss the small victories that keep me going. So the takeaway from that is celebrating small wins builds momentum, and don't wait for perfect milestones. So how many of you can relate to that? Like, don't wait for like these big things to celebrate to celebrate. Like, celebrate your small wins. Celebrate the fact that, you know what? I woke up this morning and I took a shower, and I've been depressed, but I woke up and I did something. I took a step. I did something small. I took a shower. Um, or I got up out of the bed, like, and walked around my house. Like, that was a win for me. So celebrating small wins builds momentum. So, if you are depressed and you got up out of the bed, that's a small win. And that's going to build momentum. So tomorrow, you may get out of the bed and take a shower. That's another small win. And it just keeps building momentum and building momentum. Becoming a better person is a daily choice, not a one time event. It's in the small decisions, the tiny moments, and the courage to keep showing up as someone growing, not someone perfect. So we want to show up as someone that's growing and evolving, not someone perfect. We don't want perfect, we want real. So I want you to remember this. And if this video has inspired you in any way, I want you to share it with someone. I want you to tell me in the comments how you can, show up as someone growing and not perfect. And I want us to talk about this in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.